Good friend, former Congressman Joe DioGuardi, CPA and founder of Truth in Government, he's live with us on the phone. Joe, good morning.
Good morning.
Look at the numbers here that you sent to me. I guess it's another what? The deficit spending is up. The debt's going to go up by $1.1 trillion. It went up in 2014. How can that be in the right direction? How can that be in the right direction?
It can't. And if you read the headlines today, I'll give you another one, and then you go on your break. The shrinking deficits that Obama wants to tell you about are really masking the mounting debt.
The difference between the budget deficit and the national debt. And in this one, you're also, in what you sent me, is you're explaining once again that even when you're talking about the deficit for a fiscal year, there's so many things that aren't included.
Absolutely. It is a mess. The accounting is a complete mess. I don't know how many times I have said that. And how do you get these points across to the public who are so, uninstructed about much of the way we account for anything, especially the way the government lies about what it's spending. And it's an absolute lie when you use the cash basis, which goes, I put my hand in my pocket and I pay for something and say that's the accounting system I'm using today, when I'm forcing, publicly traded companies to protect investors, and I have the SEC enforcing that, to use the right accounting system that big accounting firms would say, I can now give you a clean opinion. There is no way to get a clean opinion on anything that the federal government's doing, even from a government employee who's a controller general, our most trusted accountant in government. You can't do it because you have material weaknesses. That's the key phrase that accountants use to deprive you of a clean opinion or any opinion. And that's what comes up. And by the way, get ready. By the end of February, we're going to have the update from the Comptroller General and the Secretary of Treasury, because by law, and that's the law I put in back in 1990, was passed, the CFO Act, every agency and department has to come up with a financial statement, and it has to be audited by the GAO. I don't think that's enough. It should be audited by outsiders, and that's starting to prevail, as you could see from the clip I sent you a few weeks ago, that when I was out in California and I went face-to-face with the Secretary of the Air Force, and I said, Madam Secretary, you not only have a budget problem, you have a credibility problem. You can't deliver a set of books that anybody could audit. And now all of a sudden they hired Ernst & Young because they saw it in the papers, and I was getting people wise to it, to do the audit. The point is, we have a big problem in that we can't count straight in government. And this is the problem. You got that article, $484 billion deficit for the fiscal year, September 30th, and that's last year, 2014. You had a budget deficit, according to the way they count in Congress and in government, of $484 billion, but in that same 12-month period, we had to go out and borrow $1.1 trillion. Now, why? Because you've got at least two sets of books, maybe three and four, because we don't even have a capital budget. And the politicians get away with it because they hire the accountants. They pay the accountants. That's why you need outside auditors to come in that are professionally capable of using the right accounting system and getting into difficult issues that are preventing right now government accountants from delivering. And even the Department of Defense, which is one of the largest, can't yet give us a set of books that we can audit. I hate to sound like I'm repeating things, but this is very important for everybody to understand.
No, I think it needs it.
On the system that the accounting profession says tells the truth about what we're really spending. Otherwise, you'll never know what the real debt is.
It has to be repeated, and we have to repeat it over and over again. The bottom line is, for anybody who's worked in corporate America, is when they come in to audit your company, whether it's a small company like I had or companies, or whether it was when I was at Lockheed Corporation, you don't tell the outside auditor how they're going to audit. There's a way and a generally accepted accounting principles and a process that you have no say over. They come in, they do their job. And in the government, it's completely the opposite. You have talked to us about the Pentagon, and you gave us a date. It hasn't been audited in how many years?
Well, since 1994, when it was first required.
And they don't know if they'll be able to audit it, in the next 10 years?
They're hoping to get it done by 2017, And that's why they're now calling in an outside accounting firm, because it's getting embarrassing. When I posed the question at the Reagan Library last November, that was the Reagan National Defense Forum, I mean, the Secretary of the Air Force was so embarrassed she couldn't answer it. She says, I can't disagree with you, Congressman. Let me have other people comment. So they had the CFO, the former CFO of the Department of Defense, comment, and he gave a dumb answer. Like, well, it's not the same as business. We have assets that we can't value in the Pentagon and in the Department of Defense. Come on. It's not about assets. It's about liabilities. It's about what you're not putting on the books. It's about what we know we're obligated for, but you refuse to put it down as a liability. And that's when one of the generals, who apparently had something to do with accounting in the past, General Pintal, said, hey, Joe, you're right. We've got $1 trillion in pensions, military pensions, that are not on the books. And if we accounted for things on what they call full cost absorption, so that the current activities would bear what all the costs are, including benefits and pensions, we would have to put on the books right now another $1 trillion just for Social Security and not Social Security, military pensions. And he was right.
Well, you have, what you have, and we've talked about this, but we need to continue to talk about it. I'm sorry for being repetitive. I know you are, but it needs to be repeated. You have not just the political influence that is perverting it all. You have the bureaucratic status quo protectionism that goes on.
Exactly.
Right? And then,
cronyism.
I'm looking at an article here, and we don't have much time, but, Rand Paul has now introduced legislation again, I don't know what, for the umpteenth year, to audit the Fed. And they are screaming like stuck chickens.
Every excuse in the world is being given why we have to keep the Fed independent and therefore we cannot audit it. Baloney. Come on, it could be independent, but we need to know what that balance, how many securities do they buy that are really toxic securities that we force them to buy besides the Treasury bills. Hey, by the way, the bottom line, and I have to give it to you again, it's about the next generation too. And I start off my CFO article with this. Today, Mary, a sixth grader, had to stay home from school to care for her brother and sister as her mom needed to take a second job in order to pay for health insurance. This is one of the many blows that Mary will face over her lifetime. And by the time she is ready to draw Social Security, if no changes are made, she will receive only a portion of the benefits that have been promised to her. And that's when I get into why we need a chief financial officer. We are screwing the next generation. There's an intergenerational war going on, and by not recording the real cost of everything we're doing now in the real national debt, we are passing it on with a mask to the next generation, saying, you pay for it. We know that you may have to raise your taxes, but you'll figure it out. This is not fair. It gets down to fairness. We're not being fair to the people today who can't vote, young people, and the young people yet to come. There it is.
Amen, Joe. Thanks for being with us, my friend. You stay warm up there, and we'll talk to you next week.
I will.
Thanks for being with us. Joe DioGuardi, of course, author of Unaccountable Congress. We have copies. If you'd like some, just send us an email. We'll hold one for you here at the studio. Don't forget to join him on truthingovernment.org. Truthingovernment.org. Follow all his writings and research and his columns and his appearances. I thank him for being with us.